Welcome back. Today we're going to make something really good, a simple apple crisp. We'll start off by putting about 2 to 3 tablespoons of lemon juice into a large bowl. Now for the hard part, peeling and dicing up 5 pounds of apples. The apple that I'm using has a spicy sweet flavor and this holds up well to baking. It's not going to break down. I'd love to tell you the variety this is, but I don't know what it is because it's from our property and it's a tree that's been here for a very long time. When not using apples from my own property, I'll get Cortland or Granny Smith. I've even used Honeycrisp apples for making this recipe. They all hold up really well. Honeycrisp, you just gotta cook them a bit longer because they don't want to break down. There's the size of the apples that I cut them up into, or the apple pieces. And then I just continue that process along until all the apples are cut up. As I continue to add them to the bowl, I make sure after each addition that I stir them around in the lemon juice so that they don't start browning. Once the apples are all cut, it's time to start adding the rest of the ingredients. First off, it's going to be 3/4 a cup of maple syrup. Next, 1/2 cup of apple cider or apple juice will work here. Then 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of allspice, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg and finally 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour will go in. Next, it's time to give the apples a really good stir. You want to make sure everything gets fully incorporated and the apples all get coated with the spices and the juice and the maple syrup. I then take a 13x9 pan and coat it good with cooking spray. We'll take our apple mixture and pour it in there. Make sure that it's all filled up to the sides. You don't have a heaping mound in the middle. You want it nice and flat throughout there. Also make sure all those juices in the bottom of the bowl get poured into the pan as well. We will then take our 13x9 pan of the apples and put it into a 350-degree preheated oven for 30 minutes. While that is baking, we will start making our topping. To a bowl, we'll add 2 cups of old oats. To that, we'll add 1 cup of all-purpose flour. Then 3/4 a cup of brown sugar will be added to that. Next, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. We'll mix that up with our fingers then. When the toppings are done being mixed up, I'm going to get out 1 1/4 sticks of butter. I like to take them and cut them up into really small pieces because I'm going to work that butter into the oat flour mixture. I'm going to use my fingers to work in the butter into the mixture itself. I'm trying not to leave too big of clumps when I work it in. As you can see, I still had some pretty big clumps of butter in there. I probably should have worked it just a little bit more, but it'll still come out fine at the end. Our first cook time is done, so I'm going to stir up the apples first. You might see some of the edges have cooked a little bit up and the juices are getting thicker. I'm then going to take the topping and put it as evenly as possible across the top. Just be careful, the pan's going to be hot, so make sure you don't touch the edge as you're trying to make this even. I put the dish back in the oven for another 25 minutes, and when it comes out, the top should be a nice golden brown and the crisp should be complete. Let it cool down a bit and then you can enjoy this classic fall dessert with ice cream, whipped cream, or just as is. I hope you enjoyed today's video and happy eating!